Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is possibly the most idiotic thing I've seen in 2018 thus far, and that is the Tide Pod Challenge. If you still have faith in humanity, this story might bankrupt you. And it's important to understand that this situation is two-pronged. There are the actual people that are so young or so stupid they're actually participating, and there are people that are just memeing, right? It's just so stupid they're making jokes, but this is actually a problem. We're seeing these videos popping up of mostly teenagers putting Tide Pods in their mouths and then biting down, which I hope this isn't new information for you, but it is a bad idea to consume laundry detergent. You're just ingesting poison. And the thing is, I want to believe that this is actually not a problem. It's just people joking, no one's actually doing it, but according to the American Association of Poison Control Centers, just by January 11th, there had been 40 reported exposures to liquid laundry detergent pods by 13 to 19-year-olds. And that number, just from the first 11 days of this year, is already 20% of the total number of similar incidents from all of last year. It's in fact such a big deal right now, Tide teamed up with Rob Gronkowski to let people know eating Tide Pods is bad.
What the heck is going on, people? Use Tide Pods for washing, not eating.
To which most of the internet responded with more Tide Pod eating memes. And ultimately, at the end of the story, I find myself not knowing where to go. Part of me goes, well, this is just Darwinism at play. If you are 19 and you don't know it's a bad idea to bite into a Tide Pod, maybe that's for the best. We're probably not losing the cure to cancer with that one. But then I think about the really young kids, the impressionable kids that maybe don't understand that it's all supposed to be a ridiculous joke, that you'd have to be a complete idiot to participate in this. And that's where I become actually worried that the joke is lost on them. So I guess I'll just end this with some old school Philly D advice, and that is, don't be stupid, stupid. And also just because this story gives me the opportunity to get this out there. This is the National Poison Help Hotline. Save this number. You can also text poison to 797979. Just save that number in your phone. Hopefully you never need the number in general. Hopefully you never need the number for a Tide Pod related incident. But maybe this incredibly stupid story, getting this very important number in front of you, saves a life. I'm trying to look at and make silver linings here, people. The world's so damn stupid. And then let's talk about some good old-fashioned political controversy coming out of the UK. This thanks to UK Independence Party leader Henry Bolton and his girlfriend Jo Marnie. Over the weekend, Bolton was just under fire over comments his girlfriend made in a series of Facebook messages with a friend. Those messages end up getting published by the news, and she's talking about black people, Meghan Markle, who of course is an American actress that is engaged to Prince Harry. And so let's go through them. Jo Marnie's comments have the white background and her friend the blue background. She says, I wouldn't with a Negro. Friend says, what's wrong with black people? She replies, ugly, not my thing. They don't turn me on. Harry's marrying God. Wet as a scrubber. Awful. A royal yank. Yuck. What's wrong with her? She's a quote, gender equality twat. She's obsessed with race. And her seed will taint our royal family. Just a dumb little commenter. Tiny brain. She's black. A dumb little actress that no one has heard of. This is Britain, not Africa. Racist. LOL, so what? Not wanting other races and cultures to invade your own culture doesn't mean I hate their race. Just means I don't want their cultures invading mine. Just don't like her. She's a black American. Pushing their way to the top slowly, slowly. Next will be a Muslim PM and a black king. Now when Jo Marnie was confronted with her comments, she issued this statement, saying, I apologize unreservedly for the shocking language I use. The opinions I've expressed were deliberately exaggerated in order to make a point and have to an extent been taken out of context. Yet I fully recognize the offense they have caused. No offense was intended, and again, I apologize unreservedly for any such offense or hurt that my messages may have caused to members of the public, members of UKIP, my friends, family, and loved ones. I have disappointed them all and let myself down. I cannot sufficiently express my regret and sadness at having done so. And to that comment, I would say I would love for her to explain how these are taken out of context. How these were quote-unquote deliberately exaggerated. Like the only added context to the situation that makes her not a disgusting human being, just to me, is if in this back and forth with her friend, she was mocking a mutual friend that they had that is racist. Right, like if I'm having a back and forth with another YouTuber and they're like, hey, what do you think about filming a dead body? And I respond, I think that's a great idea. Sounds like a lot of views. You know, it'd be a really dope idea if we also include the dead body in the thumbnail. You know, a mocking parody type of a situation. But if you look at Jo Marnie's track record, that doesn't seem to be the case here. And if that was actually the case, that would be pretty easy to explain and not exactly what we're seeing here. It really just appears that Jo Marnie is an ignorant elitist bigot. But that said, as you might expect, there was a lot of fallout from this situation. UKIP chairman Paul Oakton saying, in light of messages that have been brought to my attention, I have taken the decision to immediately suspend her party membership pending an investigation. UKIP does not, has not, and never will condone racism. People also started calling on Bolton to resign. Bolton's been the leader of the party for less than 4 months, and he's already been facing a lot of scrutiny over his relationship with Jo Marnie. This because they've accused him of Trump having an affair, leaving his wife for the 25-year-old model. But to that, he's denied having an affair, and though he and his wife are not legally separated yet, he said the relationship ended before he and Marnie started dating. But still, many feel that his private relationships have been distracting from his leadership role. UKIP Member of Parliament Bill Etheridge, an influential figure in the party's libertarian faction, saying, "I'm calling for Henry Bolton to resign as UKIP leader. A quick resignation is now essential to allow the party to regroup and campaign properly for Brexit." Ben Walker, who was a candidate in the last UKIP leadership contest, just going for the throat, writing, "Go now, Henry Bolton. You have destroyed your own family. Don't destroy our political one too." And following all of this morning, Henry Bolton went on Good Morning Britain to announce that he is resigning from having sex with Joe Marnie.
Well, as of last night, the romantic side of our relationship is ended. We had that conversation last night when I returned from Yorkshire. It is obviously quite incompatible, as you say, to continue the relationship.
So he then goes on to kind of try and defend Joe Marnie, why she was saying this.
They're direct
but
Facebook.
But still her views.
They're direct. Well, then they're not actually. They were made in the height of an online argument between her and somebody else on Facebook through direct messaging.
And I will say that comment is pretty confusing, saying that you don't understand the context. It was made at the height of an argument. How would the context of she was having an argument with someone make this comment mean something different? He then goes on to say he doesn't defend the word. He then says that he won't be resigning. And ultimately, that's where we are right now, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Will the outrage continue to grow? Will he be pushed out? If that does end up happening, for UKIP, it would be the 5th leadership change in the past year and a half. But we'll see, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this story. But from there, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by the Sports and Pretentious hats. We, of course, still have those best-selling sports and pretentious shirts on shopdefranco.com, but a lot of people have been requesting the hats, so here you get hats. But unlike the shirts, the hats are only available for the next 10 days or until they sell out. So if you want to snag one while you can, link to those down below. And the first bit of awesome comes from Foot of a Ferret. He does this brief history series, and he just put out one on me. And it was just really interesting for me to see someone else talk about my over a decade on this site. If you're new here, you want to check it out, I'll link to that. Then we got our first look at season 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. Over the weekend, we also got a Black Panther featurette. Then, with it being Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I wanted to link to a playlist of his speeches, some big moments, and even if it's for 5 minutes, just remembering not only the man, but his words. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. Then let's talk about what in the actual hell happened in Hawaii over the weekend. It's just insanity. Saturday morning, 8:07 a.m., people in Hawaii look to their phones, see emergency alert, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii, seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. Also at the same time, an alert played on radios and televisions.
The U.S. Pacific Command has detected a missile threat to Hawaii. A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
So obviously tons of people are horrified. They're running for shelter. They're texting and tweeting their loved ones. Also, there's one guy who's like my favorite guy in this whole situation. He made a video for his loved ones and he was like, "I'm playing golf. I did really good on the last hole. I'm just gonna go out playing golf." And for most people in the area, not until 8:45 a.m. did they know that it was a false alarm. At 8:45 a.m., an emergency alert went out saying there is no missile threat or danger to the state of Hawaii. Repeat, false alarm. Before that, we saw some Hawaii officials try to inform people that it was a false alarm. One of the first ones came at 8:20 a.m., so still 13 minutes after the false alarm. The Hawaiian Emergency Management Agency tweeting out no missile threat to Hawaii. Road signs were changed to there is no threat. Hawaiian officials were trying to tweet out. And so of course the question in most people's minds was, how the hell did this happen? Why did an entire state of people get told, you might die, there's a missile coming? And also just think about the rest of the country, the rest of the world. We're living in tense times. People see this report and they're going, oh no, we're going to war. It's happening right now. And the truth of the situation is incredibly stupid. And the first explanation we're given comes from the governor of Hawaii, David Ige, who says,
it was a procedure that occurs at the change of shift where they go through to make sure that the system is working and an employee pushed the wrong button.
It came down to a person pushing the wrong button. Who was that person?
And when you actually look into the specifics of the situation, it's almost shocking this hasn't happened before. When there's a shift change at Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency, there is always a test of the alert system. And to test the system, there is a drop-down menu with 2 options. And stacked right on top of each other, you have Test Missile Alert and Missile Alert. And it doesn't include a whoops, I hit the wrong button button. When you cancel in this system, it doesn't send out another message saying, whoopsie. It just stops further messages from going out. The message at 8:45 a.m. came after getting authorization from FEMA. Now, following Following this massive mistake, the FCC says they're investigating. A spokesperson for Hawaii's EMA saying they're already making changes, saying in the past there was no cancellation button, there was no false alarm button at all. Now there is a command to issue a message immediately that goes over on the same system saying it's a false alarm, please disregard, as soon as the mistake is identified. The agency also said they're changing the procedure so that it is a two-person job. One will initiate, the other will confirm, and they added that the person responsible for the situation has temporarily been reassigned, but they have no intent to fire. And that's where we are, and I'm just left laughing, and it's not at the misfortune of the people who literally thought they were going to die. I'm laughing because it seems like such a ridiculously stupid and easy to avoid situation, yet it happened. And I find myself worried that this massive blunder will make it so that people in Hawaii, when they're there, when they get the next alert, which is real, they won't believe it, so they'll ignore it. Maybe they'll just be skeptical and lose very, very valuable minutes. But hopefully that's not the reality of the situation. Hopefully that's just the cynical part of my brain doing its thing. I don't know. What I will say is if you were out there in the comments down below, I'd love to know what that experience was like. What went through your mind? What did you do? Let me know. And then let's talk about a story I thought was done. It was over. I'm talking about the H&M Coolest Monkey in the Jungle controversy. We talked about this 2 times last week. There's a lot of controversy because H&M put up a photo of a young black child wearing a hoodie that said Coolest Monkey in the Jungle. Meanwhile, the white child model had a shirt that said Survival Expert. Many people saying that this choice on H&M's part was ignorant, it was racially insensitive, some saying just outright racist. This because of a long history of racist people referring to black people as monkeys. We saw several celebrities and their partnerships with H&M over this. The mother of the child came out saying that it wasn't racist. H&M then apologized for the image. They ended up removing the product from their entire website. But still, some that were angry felt the company had not done nearly enough. And so in South Africa over the weekend, we saw protests. On Saturday, demonstrators from the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, a South African socialist party, they gathered at H&M locations in Cape Town, Pretoria, several other locations around Johannesburg. They were wearing red, they were chanting outside of the stores, some holding signs that said H&M say hello to the coolest monkeys, and away with H&M racist tendencies. And we then saw protesters destroying the stores.
Is this allowed? Woo! Ninja style, ninja style. Oh, god damn. Oh, ninja.
Here are some of the shots of the aftermath. And as far as the argument of, this was just the actions of a few, not the entire organization, not really. Yes, we saw random supporters of the EFF doing this, tweeting out their support, but we also saw the EFF deputy president tweet that H&M nonsense of a clothing store is now facing consequences for its racism. All rational people should agree that the store should not be allowed to continue operating in South Africa. Well done to fighters who physically confronted racism. While you had that, you also had the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, defending the protest and warning that there was more to come.
We make no apology about what the fighters did today against that store called H&M, because we are not going to allow anyone to use the color of our skin to humiliate us, to exclude us. H&M stores is just the beginning.
My response to that speech and all that destruction is, yes, you show all of those most likely minimum wage employees are gonna have to clean up your mess. And also your other South African brothers and sisters who would have been working and would have been making money, but now can't because instead of sending your message with just words, you decided to destroy things, to become violent. And what really sucks is the people that are actually racist, they're going to point to this and go, see? Meanwhile, the people whose property you're destroying, most likely, based off of everything that we've seen, had no ill intent. You could argue maybe ignorant, not familiar. And I think a big truth of life is that it doesn't even matter if you have the right argument if you get it across like an asshole. And as far as where we are right now, H&M issued a statement saying that they're shutting down their South African stores temporarily, writing, "We strongly believe that racism and bias in any shape or form, deliberate or accidental, are simply unacceptable. We stress that our wonderful store staff had nothing to do with our poorly judged product and image." And there are reports emerging that there might be charges of incitement of public violence against the EFF commander-in-chief, their deputy president, and a spokesperson. But as of recording this video, no one has been arrested. That's where I'm gonna leave that one. And actually, I wanna pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway from all of this? Do you get why this is happening? Do you support it? Do you think it's counterproductive? I'd love to know your thoughts and any insight you have here. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss these daily shows, which actually, if you did miss the last Philip DeFranco show, you wanna catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you need something lighter, you wanna watch whatever the hell this is, click or tap right there. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.